Okay, good morning and welcome to our Program Management Professional webinar. I believe for most of you, this might not be the first time hearing of Program Management or PgMP from PMI, but those that are new to this certification, we hope to clarify on and espouse on it. And at the end of the day, if you have questions, we'll try to answer them. This has been organized under the auspices of Okin Value Limited, and this free information session is to bring to you what PGMP is all about, how you can apply, and how to ace the examination. So basically, I want to give you an overview of the certification process, the application process, and the examination, and domains associated with this. So as I go on, if you have any question, you can just raise up your hands and then I'll try and answer them as we go. Or you can open your mic and speak if you're unable to find the button to raise up your hand. Or you can put in a question in the chat. Okay. So as I said, we'll look at what PGMP is, the eligibility and application process, the exams, domains and questions, and the prep tips. And we'll open up for some Q&As. So who am I? I'm Samuel Hagen. I'm a certified program management professional. I'm also a certified PMP and other certifications I hold, CSA and other stuff, CSMs. So I'm here to share knowledge. I'm here to encourage people. Why? Because in Ghana, if you might know, there's just 7, as of last time I checked, only 7 PGMPs. In other parts of the world, you have 200, 100, 500, and the rest. I am currently based in Canada, and I got certified in Canada, but trying to encourage more people from Ghana to also get certified because there's potential. It's a niche domain that we need a lot of people in that space. So yes, that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you get out at courage and venture into program management if you are someone that fits this criteria. So if you're managing projects, managing multiple projects and all that, yes, so you fit. We'll go through and then we'll get to what I'm really talking about. So what is PGMP? So Program Management Professional Certification. It's one of the certifications by PMI. So you would normally have, or the most common one is a PMP. But after the PMP, what's next? And if you manage multiple projects, or you're a program manager, or you work in a space where you manage multiple components, then you like to go a step further to do the Program Management Professional Certification. And it's higher than the PMP. So we normally start with the PMP, and you can do a parallel certifications such as we have the PMO certifications, you have other certifications like risk management and stuff. They are all at par with your PMP. But if you want to go a step further, then you need to do the Program Management Professional. So PMACP, they are all at par, but PGMP is a step further ahead of the PMP examination. So it's a bit not tough, but it demands some level of preparation to get to that level because they assume that you have enough project management professional or project management experience and you are building upon it. So in the examination, as you are learning, you might not necessarily be learning project management, but in examination, they expect you to know. So some questions might come in that are really PMP level examination questions, but you need to be able to ace it because you have that level of experience in the project management. So what is project? You all know that's a temporary endeavor that's undertaken to create unique products, services, and etc. etc. So that's one item. So as a project manager, you are working on one product, one service, or one component. So that's project management. But for program management, this is a domain where you manage related projects that cannot be managed separately. So these are projects managed in a coordinated way to obtain benefits and control not available for managing them individually. What it means is that there are many projects or components that could be available scattered around your organization. That's if we don't manage them together, we might not achieve the benefits that we need. An example is building a hospital. So the hospital project will have the construction itself, will have electricity, will have a project to staff or to equip the hospital. We have another project to get staff employed. We have another project to do landscaping. Like there might be several projects within the hospital project that we need to coordinate, have them all together to achieve the same benefit. What's the benefit? The benefit is for the people living around that hospital to be able to attend and get services from the hospital. So if at the end of the day, no one can go into the hospital to get the services that they require, then there's no benefits. You might have the building there, but there's no benefits. So that's how you should look at it. And PgMP is more of benefit realization. So they want to see how your components fit into the organization strategy to achieve a common benefit or achieve common benefit for the organization. So if there's no benefit for a project from a component, a project or a program, then they might look at it as wasting resources and might want to cancel it. So that's a bit of program management for you. Then we have portfolio. So after program management, there's portfolio management. So portfolios are a collection of projects, programs, and other work or operations that you don't necessarily need to manage them together to achieve a common benefit, but you can manage them under their portfolio. So you have scattered projects here and there and programs, you can put them all under a portfolio just to meet strategic business objectives. Any question at this moment? Okay, now let's go into one of the difficult aspects of it. So is PgMP for you as currently you're looking for to be certified? But is it actually something that you qualify for, or is it something that you need to go into? So are you experienced in project management? Do you have like 4 to 7 years experience managing projects or components or complex initiatives at the same time? So if you manage a single, let's say, electrification projects, and your domain or what you do is just one aspect of it, but you don't manage multiple projects, then you might not necessarily be working as a program. But if you manage multiple projects at the same time, for example, if you are a telecoms project manager and you are managing the build of a site, right? You normally will do the transmission, will do the RBS, will do the power, you manage the civil aspect also. In that case, you are managing a program, but you might not necessarily know that that's a program, because a program is basically multiple projects, 2 or more projects being managed simultaneously. So you're managing the power aspect, you're managing the transmission, the civil work, the tower work, you're managing the RBS, the radio base station, and all that. So these are all individual components or projects that is being brought together as to achieve a common benefit. So the benefit is for the people to be able to make call using the sites. So you should look at your experience and see, okay, whether I've been managing multiple projects, and if yes, if it's more than 3 years, then you qualify to write or to get the certification. So we're looking at people who are program managers already, or project managers or senior project managers within organizations. So this is the target groups. It doesn't mean that if you don't have this, you are not a program manager or a project manager, you don't qualify. So titles are not necessary in the application process. You could be, let's say, a strategist, account strategist or something, or account manager or account executive, but your role is more important than what you do. Your responsibility is more important than the title that you hold. So you shouldn't worry about my title. I'm not a program manager or I'm not a project manager, and which means I will not qualify for this examination. But look at what I do. If you are playing the role, then definitely you qualify to be certified or to apply. Industry, any sector, any industry is welcome. We have program managers in health, in construction, in sales, everywhere, marketing. We have program managers. So why do we need to get a PgMP certification? So basically, it can help you increase your salaries or your earning power, or advance your career. You could get into positions with big industries or organizations. So as a certified program manager, you might get more than what an uncertified program manager would be earning. And it's also, there's a big network, a PMI network that you join, and it's a niche area. So not many people are certified in that domain. As I said, in Ghana, it's currently only 7 people certified as PgMP. So if there's a role that requires, let's say, a big project or program within Ghana, let's say UN brings a project looking for a certified PgMP in Ghana, basically those 7 people would qualify for it, and maybe out of the 7, 3 or 4 might be engaged that would not even want to work in this project, and you might be one of those who will be available, and it's easy for you to get this role. So you should open up, and in other countries, so in North America here and in Asia, there are a lot of requirements that look for PgMP certified professionals. So it's good that you get certified, and it opens more doors for you. Now let's touch briefly on the eligibility criteria. So there are 3 main pathways. It's similar to PMP. So those with high school or diploma, you'd normally, so it doesn't stop you from registering if you don't have a PMP. So assuming you're a non-PMP certified professional, but you have experience in project management, you can still do the PgMP. But what you would need to do is to document your project experience. So if you are, let's say, high school graduate or diploma graduate, you need to document 48 months of PMP experience, and then you also need to document 84 months of program experience. But if you have a PMP, assuming most of you have PMP, you don't need to document any project management experience. All you need to document is you don't need to document any project management experience, but all you need to do is to document your program management experience. So I think you might be asking yourself, but I'm trying to get certified to get that program management experience, but they're asking me to document my program management experience. That's where the issue lies. So as I explained, you might already be working as a program manager, but you don't really know that that's what you're doing. So we can help you to identify your program management experience from your current project management, and then help you to document it properly, where you would not necessarily have to go through rejection in your application, but to get it done in the first shot, because some people don't even pass the first stage of screening. So for PgMP, there is a review of your application, and if you don't pass, they will ask you to go back again to refine it. You have one chance to do it. You have another chance, but if you don't get it, then the application will close because you're not qualified to take the examination. If you have a bachelor's, 48 months of program management experience, or a PMP will do, And then if you have a GAC bachelor's, there's very few bachelor programs that are GAC accredited. You would need a PMP or 36 months experience and then a program management experience of 36 months. Any question here? We'll go into details on the application process, but I just want to bring this to you. Okay,
Sorry,
now,
sir.
yeah.
Samuel, what's a GAC? What is that?
Okay, so GAC is a collection of specific programs in the world. There are few of them, very few of them. It's like, let's say, uh, very few programs certified by PMI to run project management programs. There's none in Ghana, so don't worry. There's none in Ghana. It's few of them in the world, and they are. I'll look for the name of GAC, the full meaning, but these are specific programs in the world. Like sometimes, let's say, they're very top schools in the world that they've given accreditation to run program or project management courses, and they've categorized them as GAC organizations or GAC programs or bachelors.
And what about if you have a post graduate degree like a PhD, master's, and an MBA? How does that? How long does the program experience? What are you going to document?
So yeah, even if you have a PhD or emeritus professor, you still have to document. You fall under the bachelor's. You still have to document your project management experience and also your program management experience as any other. So for PMI, so far as the minimum is bachelor's. If you have a PhD or triple PhD or yeah, a professor in project management, it doesn't matter. You just have to document your project management experience and also your program management experience. I hope this
Thank
answers
you.
your question. Yeah.
Yes, it does. Thanks.
Okay, so this is the application process. So on the right is a summary of it, but let's go to the left. I hope you can see. So what happens is that you start your process, you submit the application. So you document all your program experience. If you have a project management PMP, you don't need to document your project management experience. But if you don't have, you document your project management experience and document your program management experience. Then you have 90 days to complete. So you have 90 days to complete your application once you get started. So once you click start the application, it opens up for 90 days for you to fill up all those experiences and everything that you document. Then once after you are done and you submit, it goes to an application completeness review. So normally a few days, let's say, but they give you 10 days, they will say 10 days, but they will just review whether everything is complete, and then it's done. They'll say your application is complete. Not necessarily you've passed, but it's just completeness, checking that you've answered all the questions, you filled all the where you need to fill. Then there's an audit process. So not all applications go through the audits, but most applications or some applications go through the audit. So if your application is picked to go through and this also happens to PMP applications. So if your application is picked for audit, they will ask you to send some materials, maybe references and other stuff to show that what you've documented, you've actually done it. So normally they'll give you 90 days to send in all your responses, and once you pass that stage, then you go to the next stage. Then you go to application payments process. So once, assuming you don't go through the audit, but after the completeness, you can then go straight and pay. So application payments, you need to submit and pay the fee. I would show you how much it costs. You pay the fee is around $800 for a non. I think I'll show you for a non PMI. I'll show you how much it costs. But if you pay the fee at this point, and then it goes through panel review. So everyone goes through a panel review process, and this takes around 60 days. So this is the first gate of your application. Your first there's a gate review. So first gate, panel review. they will check the experience and see whether you've written it properly, whether you need to revise it, whether you use ChatGPT to write it. They would see whether they will look at everything, and then if they're okay with it at the first instance, then they will tell you you've passed the panel review. If not, they will tell you to revise. They will show you where you need to revise, and the panel review is done by a selected program managers or PgMP. So it's not PMI that does it. They select PgMPs randomly, or they have a select. So it's PgMPs who would sit and look at your application and say, okay, this experience you documented needs a review. You didn't write it properly, or you attributed to people. And one trick is that you don't write and say we did this, we did that, we set up this, we planned this. It has to be the first person. I did it, I did this, I did that, I did that. They want to see your contribution. So the panel review takes 60 days to complete. That's assuming everything, it takes that while. It could be less. And then once you pass the panel review, then you have 1 year to write your examination. So you can then get set up, like apply to, you can write it at home, or you can get it a center and write the application, write the examination. So you look at available centers around you, and then you apply for the PgMP if you have slots, and you write the examination. You have three. So for the examination, you have three options, not options. So you can write it for 3 times within that 1 year. You have 1 year to write it, but assuming you write the first time and you fail, you can register again. Not register, but just pay again and then write again. You fail, you can pay again and then you write. You have 3 chances to pass. Any question? Any question on this process? We are all good? Okay.
So, sorry,
Yeah.
please, before you go, I want to ask, good morning from here. I want to ask, the panel review, is it going to be an interactive one, or you just submit and they evaluate you, or you have to be in person to be evaluated after document submission?
Yeah, so the panel review is just submitting your documents and any material they ask from you. And most of the time it will be, let's say, a reference or a document. I'm not sure it depends on what you write, and then they'll ask you all that from there. So it's not an interactive or a meeting, or let's say an interview. But previously, some years back, what happened was that instead of just a panel review, the panel review was there, but they had another gate where for example, you say you're a program manager or your senior project manager, they will look for your supervisor to write an attestation about you and to confirm that you actually did like all what you've said. So if you don't have a good relationship with your supervisor or your manager, like someone who is managing you, then most people would fail because they will not get a good attestation from their parents, supervisors or managers. But that's been taken off. So it's just a panel review, and the panel will ask you. So for the panel review, they don't ask you. Yes, let me clarify. The panel review will not ask you for any documentation. It is the audit process. The audit that will ask you for documents and let's say references. But the panel review only looks at what you've written, and then we'll say maybe, yeah, it's not too clear. It doesn't talk about your governance experience. It doesn't talk about your stakeholder engagement experience, or it's not too clear on your how you manage components and program life cycle. I'm just giving you an example. So they will look at your application in totality and give you comments for you to work on. At least if you work on the comments and you bring out an original it becomes more original, yes, then they would accept it. But if you also use, let's say, go on ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, write an experience summary for me on this, on this project, they would see it and they would point it out. Is your question answered?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yes, Samuel, can I jump in with a question,
Sure,
please?
sure. Go ahead.
To what extent does not having a PMP negatively impact? Because as you're speaking, you're talking about the technical, language for project management.
Mhm.
So if we've been sort of managing projects but don't really use or follow a scientific PMP principles now and don't have that certification, how does that does it negatively impact the PGMP application?
No, the application itself, it doesn't impact your application. So you'd so when you're applying for, let's take it back, when you want to get certified as a PMP, you also write your experience, right? Your project experience, and they expect you to also document things around project initiation, planning, execution, controlling, monitoring, closing. So they want you to see how you initiated a project, how you executed it, how you controlled, you monitored, how you closed it in that manner. Same with program management experience. They want to see how you did the initiation of the program, how you executed or managed, how you started components within the life cycle of the program, how you did your date reviews, how benefits were realized, all that. It doesn't, so what you need to do when you're documenting is just have a fair idea of what they are looking for and write it accordingly, and you should be fine. But in the examination, they expect you to know some things already. They expect you to know some basic PMP stuffs, like, so the PM book is part of the books they would recommend for program management. And as a PMP, maybe you have already gone through that. You know what's the ins and out, the domains in project management. They are not going to assess you so much on project management, but they want you to have a fair idea of what happens within the projects, how the projects are initiated, the up to closing, and some fair, terms. So some few calculations. So the program management, you might see as a 3-4 calculation questions, and these are mostly treated in the PMP, like the EMVs, the return on investments, and all that. You see few of them in the program management, and then there's no agile. So there's no agile per se in the program management, but you might see one or two. They'll say a program in a software company and they did a retrospective. So at least you should have that basic understanding of those terms. So that's how it is. Yes, you need to brush out your PMP or your project management experience. Read some of the guides, the project guides like the PMBOK a bit, maybe once before you take your program management examination.
That's clear. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, so let's look at the examination, the PgMP exams. So the format is you have 170 multiple choice questions, MCQs. You have 4 hours in total, and then you can do it in person or online proctored. And then you have up to 3 attempts once you register. Like in a year, you have 3 attempts. And these are the examination domains that's like compared to PMP, where you have 3 domains and it's people, process, and business environment. Here, you are looking at 5 domains. So you have the program lifecycle management, you have the stakeholder management, you have strategic program management, governance, and then benefit management. The program lifecycle management is the biggest. It's around 48% of the questions. So you need to do more there. You need to understand it. And once you're able to get that and few of this one, you can pass. If you fail the program life cycle, then there's no way you're going to pass the examination. So you would need to concentrate more on that, and then you can be able to ace the examination. It's the program lifecycle management is where components are started and closed. So in PgMP, you hear of component. It's the same as project. So as a program manager, you have a number of project managers working under you, or component managers. So once you're in the program lifecycle, you'll be starting projects, closing projects, starting up to closing. That's the life cycle where the components are started and closed. Then you have the stakeholder management, similar to project management, where you manage your stakeholders, look at their interest, and engage them whenever necessary. The interest and power grid is similar with a little more detail, but it's similar. If you have that knowledge, you can understand this. Strategic program management is looking at the strategy of the organization. So it's more on strategy and what the organization is looking for and how they want to manage or get benefits. And if you have a new CEO or CTO, the strategy that might change, it might affect your program or projects. And so these are all things. Look at the mission, vision, and strategic alignments of your of the program or the organization. And then we have the governance. So the governance is how the gating system and what you do at each time you have an issue on a program, and if there's an escalation from the project, how you treat it. You have your steering committee or governance board. These are all handled in the governance. And then you have the benefits management, how you manage benefits, you transition benefits, and you sustain benefits. So in all, this is what you'll be learning, and you write in exams. The exams is based on this. And in terms of the quantum of questions, so program life cycle, as I said, is around 40 something percent of the 44% of the total questions. Then stakeholder management is around 16%. Then you have strategic program management 15%, governance is around 13% or 14%, and your benefits management, that's also there. So at least if you're learning, you would look at the one with a lot of questions and master it properly, and then you can be able to be comfortable going forward. So if, let's say, if I'm you, I would learn more of this 3. If I get above target in this ones, or yeah, I should be fine. And then these ones, you would at least be able to handle them as they go. Any questions? Okay. So how to prepare? So as you know, similar to other examinations, you would need to plan yourself. Maybe I want to get a certification in 3 months or 6 months or in a year, within a year. I would need some study materials. I need to join a study group. I need to join a mentorship program or boot camps. My focus areas are this. So I would suggest, because of how this examination is, you need some mentorship. You need a boot camp to help you, even with the application process. If you want to do it alone, you might get disqualified or you might not go through, because you need someone who has done it before to explain, to help you through the process, and then get to do some mentorship programs, boot camp, and answer some simulator questions, explain the various domains properly for you. Yeah, so that's why we are here at Talking Value, to help you in that process. So yeah, any questions? So our next step is to decide whether you want to embark on this PgMP journey, and I hope you've done that. That's the reason why you are here this morning. And yeah, so you normally would like to sign up for the bootcamp, go through the process. We'll help you to apply, and then you take exams and become one of the few program managers in Ghana, in the world, certified PgMPs, and then the sky is the limit. Any questions? Yeah, we're done with the slides. So if you have any questions, it's time for questions and answers. Any questions you have? we would send out a registration form for you to start. We have a session starting next week. So we'd love to have you guys all on. Let's start the journey together and get you all certified. Any question?
Samuel, sorry if you said this already. Can you highlight the cost of the program at Oaking, and sort of the duration of it, please?
Okay, so you want the cost from the PMI perspective, right?
Well, but also I imagine the coaching process from Oaking
Yeah.
Value at a cost, right?
Yeah, sure. So from Oaking Value, it's 6,000 for the whole. You get all the materials and everything, and so that's the Oaking Value cost. That's for the program management certification. But from PMI itself, it depends on whether you're a member of PMI or you are not a member. So if you're a member of PMI, or as a member, you would pay $800 to write the examination. But if you are not a member, you pay $1,000, 1,000 USD. So that's how it is. So it's better to be a member to qualify for the member price. So you pay 800 as a member and 1,000 as a non-member. Yeah, Peter, your hand is up.
Yeah, typical end-to-end from the time when you register to obtaining the PgMP. Typically, I know you've got certain dates, but what typically is the time?
To register and to take the examination?
Yes, from when you register to when you write the exam.
Okay, so it depends. So it depends on you. You can quickly register, like take the boot camp. The boot camp takes, let's say, 3 weeks. You are done. You can put in. So it's better to put in your application whilst you are doing the boot camp, so that we can help you out quickly if there's any request from the team that is assessing your application. We can help you out get passed, from that gate or accepted. And then once you are in the process, so once you get accepted, it's then the next stage is to book your examination. It depends on how fast you are to grasp the concept and to do some simulator work. Answer some questions here and there, up and down. Get to know that you are almost there. So if you are answering a simulator and you are getting below 30% or 40%, or below 50%, then it means you need some more work. But depending on your experience and how you can understand the concept, I would say from the time, let's say you register, at least give yourself 5 months, you should be able to do it.
Thank you.
Again?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, end to end, 5 months, 6 months, you should be able to do it. At least give yourself a 6 months duration to get certified. So use, let's say, 3 months for getting a boot camp, getting an application approved, because it could take some time. So let's say 3 months for that process. And then the 3 months, you just be, reading, doing some question and answers and mentorship. If you need a one-on-one with me, I can organize it and get you part of what you've paid. Yes, you need maybe to see whether you are ready, because I can just ask you some questions and see whether your readiness. And then once we think you are ready, you can book your examination. But it's good to book your examination. So if you don't book the examination, you'd be relaxed and you don't be. But if you see that, hey, my examination is coming in 2 months' time, I need to. It gingers you, gives you some kind of boost to learn quickly and write. Because hey, if you don't pass, you'd lose your $800. Any more questions? Any questions? We are here for you.
Yeah, you mentioned something about the the boot camp. So you're going to give us an application form and stuff like that.
Yes, yes. So the application form it was already in the webinar form, but we'll send it out. We'll put it in the chat group or send it out to everyone who registered. So we'll send it out shortly today, and then you can register, and then we'll start the process. We have payment terms to help you if you need, so that you can start the process. So next week we want to start a session next week, Saturday. So we'll send it out now. Just after this session, I'll send out the application form and you register and we get it going.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Christian.
And thank you, because I know it is very early on your site. You should have been sleeping, but you decided to stand as a program manager. So you say thank you for that.
Thank you.
I have a question, but I think you mentioned it at the beginning of the presentation, where you gave some details about the project, the program, even the portfolio. I would like you to come back to that again, because first of all, I want to know, in your opinion, or also globally, why? Because the PG has been there for a while now. Why is that the number of certified in PG are so low? Why is that? Is it that people, when they are more interested in the specialized certification and also the PMP, when they have that one, they move into the industry and they perform well and they don't need it? Or is that they don't really give value to the PG, or at some point the PG was not valued? Why is that in the market? That's the first one. Then the second one is maybe it is linked to the first one. You mentioned about the why. Still, I want to find out, maybe you can extensively elaborate on that. Why will I move to the PG?
Yeah, okay. So
thank you.
Yeah, sure. So let me attempt your answer. So the why is that, as I said, historically, just some few years ago, they made it so difficult to even go past or get to be accepted to write the examination for the PgMP, because in the application process, you would need to they'll talk to your manager or the one supervising you as a program manager or a project manager. That person has to recommend you to write the examination. So most people were getting to that phase and failing because they couldn't. Their managers were unable to recommend them, or they had issues. So that was the first issue. Second issue was that, people, once you get a PMP, people are content with it, and actually you can get a job with a PMP. Yeah. So why would I worry myself to get into the program management if I'm working as a PMP, and I can even work as a program manager with a PMP? So that's one reason. It's the motivation to get a PGMP wasn't there, and because most organizations were only looking for PMPs and some experience, they are good with that. And also, the examination is not that easy. So that's one thing. If you don't prepare well, you would have issues. Your mindset, you need to tune your mindset as a program manager from the project as a project manager. So mindset is key. And so people tried it and it wasn't easy. They got discouraged because they failed once, they failed twice, or they even failed 3 times and they just abandon it. A lot of people try, they fail it. And another key reason is that there's no, so similar to, like, compared to PMP, where there's a lot of resources available. A lot of ATPs are teaching PMPs. A lot of people have PMPs, like millions of people. it's very difficult to find resources for program management professional, PgMP. So there's lack of resources. PMI only gives you the PMBOK is already there for everyone. There's a SPM and then ECO. That's the only documents or that's the only thing you get from PMI if you register. So we like trying to encourage people. We have to create our own slides, create our own documents, create something that would make you comfortable to read and pass. So these are the main reasons why we don't have a lot of PgMPs in the world. And for every situation or for everything, I think there's you need to look at the brighter side of it. So if there are few people somewhere, that's where you need to go, at least to distinguish yourself or to get the opportunity that will come if they are looking for PgMP. So currently in Ghana, as I said, there are only 7. If they are looking for PgMPs to do something, you will be part of it, easy. But if there are like 500,000 PgMPs in Ghana, it doesn't look interesting, right? There's a lot of people. Like currently in Ghana, you have a lot of PMPs. If you put a request for a PMP certified professional, you see a lot of application. But if they put in a request for a PgMP, and it also helps you. So if you're applying for a role and let's say if 1,000 people apply, everyone has PMP and you alone have a PgMP, at least it sees that you are a step ahead of them. So that's what I would like to say. Peter, you have your hands up.
Yes, I do. This is just out of interest. You've got program and definitely portfolio management. Looking at what they both do, how different is it from being a COO, Chief Operating Officer? Because I'm sure within the consultancies, the COO would be managing portfolios.
Yeah.
So how different are they?
Well, so COO is a position, right? It's a position in an organization. But let's say portfolio manager is a role. So let's say in most organizations, portfolio managers are very high-ranking officials. They are COOs or CTOs or very, very high-ranking. So yes, as a CTO, you will definitely be doing more of portfolio. And it depends on your organization. If you're a COO of a very small enterprise, then you cannot have portfolio in your organization. Portfolio are for big organizations where you have multiple programs, multiple projects, operations, like the Talos, the MTN, like very, very big ones, the oil and gas companies, that's where they have more portfolios. But if you are a small construction company, the maximum you might have is a program. So as a program manager, yes, in a mid to large, you are very senior because not all organizations will have portfolios. So if you are mid to large, a program manager could be very senior in the organization. It could be a program director. Your role could be, or your title could be, even a CEO could be a program manager, or a director of projects or director of capital projects. These are program managers.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions? We have 4 minutes to the end of our session, but yeah, encouraging everyone, if you have a question, you ask, and afterwards you'll be putting in the registration. I hope to see most of you register so that we could start this journey together. I've not heard our ladies here. I see we have a few ladies here. Any question from you? Peter, you have a question again? I see your hands up again.
Sorry, that was from previously. I'll put it down.
Okay, all right. So maybe we'll wrap up and expect the link to be sent in your email and also in a chat group. And I encourage everyone to register and let's start. If you need payment plans, yes, there's payment plans to help you out and would be with you until you get certified. So that's what we're trying to do to get more people certified as PgMPs. in Ghana and also around the world. We want to see more Ghanaians in that domains, and Nigerians and Africans in the domains. So thank you all for joining our session today, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you. All right.